this one is one I've been trying to cover, but I wanted a female. I had to make sure a female was in this one. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. In this one,
okay.
like I want to kind of get into it. You can go general or relationship with it. So, which one did you want to kind of tap in first?
It's all the same. Everything.
Yeah.
It all corresponds.
Pretty much.
Okay, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. I think I'll speak from my own personal experience.
Yeah.
Because I used to be very invulnerable, like super hard, super like rah all the time.
Yeah.
And there's people in my life who can attest to that. But I found like the more I allow myself to soften, to be vulnerable, to be authentic, to be emotional. And when I say emotional, I mean not out of control.
Yeah.
I just mean actually like in touch with how I feel and able to verbalize my emotions in a clear way, healthy way. I'm not talking about that toxic. Nice. Like,
right.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like the more I've allowed myself to drop into that experience, I've found that my relationships are richer. I found that I actually have more access to the things I want, because if I can give voice to those things, if I can stop pretending like I don't want it, and admit that I do, and this is how I want it, and this is where I want it to come from, then typically I get what I want.
Right.
Like the universe conspires in my favor to give me what I want.
Yeah.
In terms of men being vulnerable, because I think a lot of men think that vulnerability is weakness. Yeah. And it's not true. Because if vulnerability were weak, it wouldn't be so challenging. It would be so hard.
Yeah.
It is. And it's a lot easier to hide yourself. It's a lot easier to be hard for men, especially. It's a lot easier to be hard than for you to drop down into what you're actually feeling and give voice to it and admit that you have feelings that aren't greed or lust, or this desire for fame and adoration and ego and stuff like that. Like there's more to men than those surface level things that we see on social media or we see on TV. And the most beautiful men are the ones who can actually like drop down and communicate their emotions, not just love, but like
how you feeling, you're expressive,
right? Yeah, all of that. So I think there's so much beauty and power when it comes to any human being, really, but men specifically, being able to like drop down into that vulnerability and be present and authentic to somebody else.
Exactly. And y'all heard it from her first. So I just for me I just think it's a risk too though. Because you can be vulnerable to the wrong person, and which I have had experiences like that.
Everybody's
and they either use it against you in perfect timing, or they know they have something like only you told them and it's secret, and when you need them, they're not.
Right, but then that draws into question. For one, when that happens, what do you learn from it?
Yeah.
How do you respond to it? Two, let's call into question your discernment. So when you told this person that thing, is this somebody that you genuinely felt that you could trust? Or was there something in the back of your head that was telling you not to tell this person, or that you're not safe with this person? Have you gone through because there's levels to vulnerability. There's levels to the depth that you can reach in a relationship. So have you tested those depths? Did you stick a toe in, or did you just jump all the way in? How are you protecting yourself? How are you caring for yourself in the process of being vulnerable with this person? So there's a lot of opportunity to learn more about you, to learn more about your discernment. Then now you know, at least now you know you can't trust this person. So sometimes it's the cost of doing business. Like if you loan somebody some money, they don't give it back. Now you know you can't loan that person
for money.
So it's like you said,
it goes both ways, but it's the same concept.
Right, it's a lesson.
See, that's something you kind of helped me put into play with it. And just to kind of get us deeper into it, do you think it's harder for men or for a woman to be vulnerable, like in certain like relationships or?
I think it's harder. I think it's probably harder for men, just because socially and culturally, at least in this country, it's not. We don't praise men for being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Um, we praise men for being invulnerable.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot more at stake for men in terms of that vulnerability. I think for women, the challenge is to not weaponize our vulnerability or his. Right? So if a man confides in you, really honor that gift that he gave you. And then if you're being vulnerable with a man, don't use that as a means to manipulate his emotions or his actions. Like, really just offer that also as a gift. It doesn't mean that he has to do what you want him to do or respond the way that you want him to respond, but like, this is how I feel, and I'm letting you in and opening up to you in that space.
Yeah. I agree. I'm gonna have to say men too, really, because for me, I always kind of had to put my feelings to the side and handle certain things. But it gets lonely though. You know, it gets lonely, but you still have some type of way. You have to find a way to maintain your mental and keep going. Because I guess it kind of does look as weak to people, or
Well, I think that's why it's so important for men to have brotherhood.
Yeah.
Because like, there's a certain flavor of vulnerability that men have with each other.
Yeah.
That and there's a certain level of safety there if you can find other like-minded men.
Yeah.
And again, you have to be careful with sharing yourself with men too, because some men are, oh, you a simp, oh, you this, oh, you that.
True.
But like, I don't know. I think men.
I think that's when a level of maturity tap in.
Yeah, that's true. I think with women, our vulnerability comes because a lot of men want to be providers, which means that a woman has to essentially let go of all other financial security and depend on you for herself and for her children. And like, men, I think in some instances, men think that that's a risk that they take, which is true. But women also has to take a risk in trusting a man enough to not again weaponize that vulnerability, because a lot of men will use money as a means to pull her strings and make her do what
certain things,
right, because she doesn't have any other access to funds or freedom except through you.
Right.
So.
And some people are okay with that. Some women are okay with that, but some are like, nah, I have to. Because, we all have dreams individually. So if I'm with somebody, I would want them to chase their dreams too. Not just so, if something happened to me, we have something to. It's just like, I want you, you worked hard to get to a certain place. I wouldn't want you to stop just because, okay, I'm a man and I'm going to take over. And like, even if I'm making more, like, I would still want you to, you don't have to work as hard, but still do some of, your thing on the side. So I think that's important though. Because I think sometimes y'all feel like y'all can't add value if you're not working or certain
I don't
things.
feel that way.
No?
I don't feel that way. I think I used to, but I used to be with a man who didn't value me. I've since been shown something different.
Yeah.
And so I understand my value as a woman, even without bringing money to the table. Like, if I bring you peace, I bring you comfort, I bring you ideas and inspiration. I motivate you. Like, I help take care of your household, your children. Like, there's a whole lot of value that a woman can bring to a man that doesn't require financial contribution. You just have to have a man who appreciates you for who you are. And really, ladies, if you don't have a man who appreciates you, you probably need to move around. I'm just saying.
Yeah. That's real talk though. That's real talk, real gems.
Don't listen to me. I don't know nothing.
Nah, she got it. She got it for sure. And then I want to tap into another one.
This is Jamaica. I was just on Unspoken Facts podcast. check out episode 11, because that's where you're going to see us. And we're here at Van Barrack Studio. And yeah.